Baylor and Texas now on Friday. Now these games, by the way, that game, North Carolina, NC State, this game, and the next series of games are all Friday games, all right, Black Friday this week. And a lot of them are day games because of it being a holiday, so make sure you're aware of that. Baylor and Texas is one of them. Texas, 8.5-point home favorites, 55.5 the total. So the first thing you look at is, man, this seems like a lot of points. How can we lay it with Texas? I'll tell you how you can lay it with Texas. Baylor looked completely, like you talk about just gut-wrenched, heartbroken, just mentally shot after pouring their fucking everything into that TCU game last week. To lose that game the way they did, a fire drill field goal attempt at the end of the game where they run the ball, TCU up the middle, try to make it closer. They have no timeouts left, and all of a sudden they got to run the kicking unit, run the field goal unit onto the field, make sure everyone's in position. Remember, if they go false start there, they're probably fucked. I mean, they had to just execute that one play perfectly. Nothing could go wrong. They got everybody in position. Nobody jumped. No false start. They got the snap, the hold, the field goal kick was perfect. And I saw they showed several camera shots after that game ended of Baylor players, and they've just got their heads down on the field, just, arms over their face. I mean, I don't trust Baylor one bit in this spot. Not after the way they lost that game last week. That was heartbreaking. That they had the undefeated TCU Horned Frogs on the ropes, and they did a Denny Green, essentially. Let them off the hook is what exactly they did last week. That would worry me a lot about what. Now, look, this is Texas. This is a team that should get you fired up. This is a team that you're playing that should have you able to pick yourself up off the mat. But just when you saw the visuals of the Baylor players after that just crushing loss to TCU, you wonder if their heads are in this game. You really do. Are they, especially with less than a full week to bounce back? This is not Saturday to Saturday. You got to play a day earlier on a Friday. That does worry me here about taking the points with Baylor. It feels like a lot to be laying with Texas, but we know when Quinn Ewers is on top of his game at quarterback, and look, he's had some mediocre performances too, but we know he can be really good. We know that Bijan Robinson, when he gets the run game going, can be very, very dangerous. In theory, Baylor's run defense has been okay this year. So matchup-wise, it's not terrible for Baylor, but just the situationals, the way they lost that game last week, and all the optics that I saw of those individual camera shots of the Baylor players, they all looked like they were crying and just, it's almost like somebody died, honestly. The reaction after that loss was like somebody in the family died for some of those players after losing that game the way they did. So that is enough to keep me off Baylor right there. I don't know if I'll take Texas, but it's certainly enough to keep me off Baylor. You lose a game like that 6 days later, am I trusting you to be fully dialed in and locked in? I'm not so sure. What do you think here, Conor? Interesting handicap here, Baylor, Texas.
Yeah, it is. And you talked about an early game on Friday. Yeah, what a tough loss. I thought Baylor was going to win that game. I thought that was those possessions when you had the lead after TC scored the touchdown, it's just a quick 3 and out. I was just like, oh, man, they're fucked. And it ended that way. So they covered, but I had a money line as well. But in this one, we mentioned on Saturday the lone thing we were worried about. Kansas just isn't the same team. They got to the 6 wins. The defense just gashed. You mentioned Robinson ran for like 250. And Texas looked good. It's just, a quick bounce back. But is 8 too much? And it will be, maybe look Texas first half if you think they're going to come out flat. Baylor is. And not into this one. Between these two, though, the last few years, going through it last night, Baylor beat them last year by a touchdown. It's kind of gone back and forth. Then they've lost in Austin, beat them in Waco, lost in Austin. And it's basically been by a touchdown the last 4 years. Yeah, interesting one here. Maybe this one you get on live, see how Baylor looks, early on. And if they take care of the ball, I think they should be in it. But, tough one here. I have nothing right now.